Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome back to an all new Black Ops Cold War Zombies video. Today I want to talk about the Victis maps, TranZit, Die Rise and Buried that people have been speculating about returning within this game for quite some time. However, ever since launch I have been thinking about this subject so much and I am convinced that these maps are not going to be coming, and that is what I want to talk about within today's video. I just don't really see how these maps are going to fit into the storyline and also into the DLC seasons. And the thing is, if these Victis maps do not end up coming out in Cold War Zombies, a lot of other people in the community and I are going to look very stupid because we've all been speculating about these maps for so long, and a lot of us were anticipating them and expecting them, but obviously speculation can always turn south. Before we go any further with the video, this video has been kindly sponsored by Boosteroid, and there is currently a winter holidays discount on the site that is about to end on January the 3rd. You can join the best cloud gaming platform Boosteroid.com using the promotional code WINTER and get 50% off the monthly subscription. This is a limited time offer available for the first 100 users. Do not miss the chance and subscribe now by clicking the first link in the description. For those of you who do not know what Boosteroid is, I will explain very briefly. If you own an outdated Mac, low performance PC or a laptop, it's probably difficult for you to enjoy the latest game releases. Boosteroid provides you with as much processing power as you need, so the capabilities of your device no longer matter. Save time and money. Run the latest games instantly from any device, even on your mobile or tablet. To understand better how it works, games are stored, launched, and processed on Boosteroid remote servers located in world-class data centers coming soon in the US. You receive an interactive video stream back to your device, so running high-end software is as easy for your device as simply watching a video. On Boosteroid, you have access to over 150 games that you can pre-own and run via Steam, Uplay, Origin, etc., and over 50 free-to-play games. Hurry up and get the discount using the promotional code WINTER and get the monthly subscription for only €4.99, or you can go straight for a yearly subscription for just €49.89. Anyways, let's continue on with the regular video. As you guys know, we've already had 3 different maps teased to us on Gregory Weaver's computer screens in the D Machina intro cutscene, and we also have a 4th map that was leaked on Reddit a while ago. So that's already 4 DLC maps that we know of, and we know that DLC 1, set in the case and combat base in Vietnam, is releasing with Season 2 in around February time, so it means that we're probably going to see a very similar DLC cycle to what we saw within Black Ops 3 Zombies. And it seems like we will be seeing a new Zombies map every other season or so. So if these Victis maps are going to be coming, how on earth are they going to fit into the DLC cycle when we already know of 4 maps? Of course, there is always a chance that maybe the game will continue to have new maps during the 2nd year of its life cycle, just like we saw Zombies Chronicles within Black Ops 3. However, the thing is, that was when Infinite Warfare was out, and that game wasn't really that successful, so it made sense that Activision would allow Trek to release an extra DLC pack to supplement their revenue whilst it was down during Infinite Warfare, but it doesn't really make much sense for Black Ops Cold War to receive new Zombies maps the following year, especially when DLC is now free, and also Modern Warfare is now the most sold Call of Duty game ever, and assuming we're going to see a Modern Warfare sequel in 2021, that'll probably also be really successful too. Even if you don't like Modern Warfare, you cannot deny how successful it has been. Now, of course, before release of Black Ops Cold War, I made a whole video speculating about these Victis maps, talking about how they could fit in terms of the storyline and stuff like that, but that was before I knew that there was going to be big gaps between the DLC maps and it's going to follow a very similar DLC release to the previous games. And that was also when we thought that the Vietnam map was going to be a bonus map on release, whereas we now know that it is going to be DLC 1. So now it makes it even harder to think about how on earth these Victis maps could potentially fit into the DLC cycle. I just don't see any potential gap for where they will fit in. But of course, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Do you think that these Victis maps are going to release, or do you think that they have been canned? Of course, pre-release of Black Ops Cold War, I had a source that obviously gave me a bunch of Modern Warfare information. I have not spoken to this person in quite some time, but whenever I would ask them about whether TranZit was going to be returning within the game, they would reply with gifs of the TranZit bus and winky faces and stuff like that, and that led led me to speculate that maybe we could be seeing TranZit on release, as well as a Vietnam map. And well, I guess the Vietnam map was correct, we're finally going to see it with DLC 1, but maybe TranZit is going to return, but in just some other way that we didn't expect. Like, I don't know, a Warzone map or something like that. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but how awesome would it be to play TranZit in Warzone? Also, Sledgehammer Games are apparently working on some sort of free-to-play Call of Duty spin-off that features a bunch of different things from different Call of Duties. Maybe that could make sense for where TranZit could slip in. Of course, it was heavily leaked and rumoured that in Black Ops 4 Zombies we were supposed to see TranZit, Die Rise, and Buried, as apparently the Black Ops pass was originally supposed to be Chaos only, and there was supposed to be 2 additional Chaos maps that we never ended up seeing. However, plans were changed, and we ended up seeing Alpha Omega and Tag der Toten released in the Black Ops pass, when originally there was supposed to be a second season pass just for Ether content, and that was going to feature Alpha Omega, Tag der Toten, and also the Victis maps. I am personally under the belief that the Victis maps were supposed to originally take place in between Alpha Omega and Tag der Toten, but then plans were changed. Of course, that is just my own theory. I don't know this for sure, but even if you do not believe the leaks that these maps were going to be within Black Ops 4 and were canned, all of the evidence is already within the game that these maps were in production, because there are a bunch of assets from TranZit in the game in both Blackout and multiplayer. We have the full TranZit bus, we have Ted, we had all of the Victis characters, we had the diner. In addition to this, literally pretty much the entirety of Buried was remastered inside of Blackout. So if you are telling me that you do not believe these rumors, I mean, as I was saying, all of the evidence is literally right there, slap bang in the game, that these maps were being worked on, and it seems like they were unfortunately scrapped. And this led people to think that maybe they were going to save this content and reuse stuff that they were working on inside of Black Ops Cold War Zombies. That's kind of where this rumor sparked from, but it was always speculation. No one knew really for sure what we were getting ourselves into in Cold War Zombies. And I really do hope that we do see these Victis maps at some point, because these are the only maps that have never been remastered, or remade should I say, and I do think that TranZit has a lot of potential if they were to remake it, fix a lot of the things that people didn't like. Of course, I would love to see these maps in Cold War Zombies, and if they do end up releasing, and I end up being wrong about this, then I will be extremely happy. But when I'm trying to think in my head about how these maps will fit in, I just don't really know where they could fit in. And I am not just thinking in terms of a release schedule, I'm also thinking how on earth these maps could release in terms of a storyline sense. Where could they fit into the Cold War Zombies storyline that they are trying to tell? Because obviously our Victis characters were sent into the Dark Aether, and everything from that old storyline was sent into the Dark Aether. So if they were to bring back these Victis maps, the only way I could see them bringing them back is in some sort of Dark Aether corrupted version of the maps, where they're all demented and deformed, and the maps have kind of started to break and mash together. Maybe they could be separate maps, or maybe they could do something similar to Revelations, where the 3 maps have sort of collided within the Dark Aether as just one map. And I think that would be an awesome map where we go physically within the Dark Aether to these Victis maps. But as I was saying, I don't know how on earth this would make sense, and I don't really know where it would fit into the DLC cycle, considering we already pretty much know of 4 maps that are going to release, unless maybe this is going to be, you know, DLC 4 or something like that. I have no idea. And also, since our Victis characters were sent into the Dark Aether, they would have started to corrupt and mutate in there. And we obviously learned from the intel that a character called Barbara, who has been in the Dark Aether for quite some time, she started to grow an alligator-like mouth and long nails as she has started to deform into some sort of monster. But Victis have been in there longer than anyone in the Dark Aether, so they would have corrupted the most. So I really don't think that we will ever see Victis again in terms of the storyline. I think that their storyline is over, and I think that the only way that they could return is in some kind of boss fight, as they will have mutated and corrupted within the Dark Aether into some sort of monster. Maybe they could even be a part of the Elder Gods themselves, since obviously the Elder Gods are made up of the deceased and the lost souls trapped within the Dark Aether. Maybe we could see Victis as a boss fight. And I'm just saying, if they were to do a map that is TranZit, Die Rise, and Buried mashed together in the Dark Aether, that would be very cool, and it would be awesome to see Victis as the boss fight for that map, where they've kind of merged together maybe as one being into some sort of giant monster, similar to the Panzermortar, the boss fight on the Final Reich in World War II Zombies. And I think the most damning piece of evidence that we might not be seeing the Victis maps return is the fact that the DIE Wonder Weapon on Die Maschine heavily resembles the jet gun, the Wonder Weapon on TranZit. It's so similar, and it really makes me wonder wonder if maybe Treyarch were working on a TranZit remake at some point in time, and this was going to be the new version of the jet gun for that map, and they ended up saving that for Die Maschine instead if they have ended up scrapping that map entirely. And also we had the fast travel portals on TranZit, and we have pretty much the exact same mechanic on Die Maschine where we are able to fast travel via the Dark Aether portals where we transport through negative energy. So once again, this could maybe be something that is reused from a potential TranZit remake that they were working on. In addition to this, the map obviously features Nacht der Untoten, and on TranZit, guess what, that similarly also features Nacht der Untoten. So we have 3 elements from TranZit on Die Maschine, and it makes me wonder, what if they were working on a TranZit remake in Black Ops 4 or later at some point, but it was cancelled, and then they have saved some assets from this and they've reused them on Die Maschine. It's just food for thought, this is just speculation, this is just theory, but holy hell, it really does make you think that maybe, yeah, maybe these maps are not going to be coming out. Also, Treyarch have just announced that Tombstone is going to be coming to the game. I'm assuming it's going to be releasing with the mid-season update for Season 1 when Cranked gets added. And obviously Tombstone was the perk that was featured on TranZit/Town. So once again, this could be another example of something that was originally going to be featured on this TranZit remake, but Treyarch have instead released it to Cold War Zombies just as its own standalone update. Anyways, that is going to conclude today's video. As I was saying, I really hope I am wrong about this. I really hope we do see these maps. And as we're saying, if they are entirely cancelled and we won't be seeing them in Cold War Zombies, I hope that they can at least reuse assets that they were working on for the Victis maps in some other way. Whether that means they could bring some elements from them into the future DLC maps for Cold War Zombies, or maybe they could just reuse some of the assets in a Warzone. I think that would be awesome. And as we were saying, Sledgehammer Games are working on some sort of free-to-play thing, and maybe some assets could be reused for that. Only time will tell. No one really knows for certain what is going on, but I really hope that if they were working on these maps, that Treyarch haven't just completely wasted their time and they find a way to reuse all of the assets and stuff like that, so that they at least get some use out of them. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Cold War Zombies news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.